What a wonderful and beautiful day it is today. It's so very, very special. And the reason it's special is because we have heroes right here in our school today. And you know why they're heroes? Because they fought in all different conflicts and wars so that we can have our freedoms, our freedom of speech, our freedom of religion, and even freedoms to go to school. Can you imagine that there are countries in this world where some children aren't afforded the opportunities to go to school? Well, our heroes here today are our veterans, because they've all served in all branches of the service, whether it's the Marines or the Navy, the Army, the Air Force, the Coast Guard. Did I leave any out? Air Force. They are here, and we owe them a huge thank you. And before we even begin, I know this is going to be very challenging because we have so many more new students this year, but we need to stand. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to introduce Mrs. Brenda because she has an introduction, and then we will all stand for the pledge. Wait, though. Mrs. Brenda.
Good morning, boys and girls, colleagues and special guests, and honored veterans. Happy Friday morning, and welcome to Martin Luther King's 5th Annual Veterans Day celebration. I can hardly believe it's been 5 years since I stood before you at this podium and welcomed you all to our first annual Veterans Day program. Where has the time gone? Every year as I begin to prepare for this very special event, I can't help but to get emotional. Veterans Day is an annual event that is very near and dear to my heart. I myself come from a family of men and women who have served in the military. So it is with much gratitude to the brave men and women who sacrifice everything to make this world a safer place for the rest of us that I dedicate this program. Thank you. You could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for My Country 'Tis of Thee. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, boys and girls. I would like our Blue Lion, Tricia, to please come forward. Tricia's going to give all of you, our honored guests and our veterans, 3 roars for good luck. Ready?
Okay, guys, let's give 3 roars to the veterans. 1, 2, 3. Roar! Roar! Roar!
Stay over here with us. We might need you. Thank you, Tricia. Now I would like to introduce Mr. Thomas Lanke, Edison Township Mayor. Make me nervous.
Good morning, everybody. How are you? Good. You guys sound great during the pledge and the roaring especially. So it's my honor to be here, and I want to first thank the veterans from the bottom of my heart for your dedicated service. Thank you very, very much. Because of you, I am able to be up here and speak today. You know, it's really an honor to see all of you here, and I want to thank Mrs. Wilton, Mrs. Renda, Mrs. Ranson, and really all the faculty and staff for ensuring, as they say in that video, to not have short memories, but to continuously remember what the veterans did and sacrificed for all of us to be here and to live the lives that we live today. You know, on Tuesday, on Veterans Day, I had the privilege to drive around town with the veterans and visit the veterans' home, as well as some of the monuments we have around town. And when you have some time, you should ask your parents to take you to one of those monuments and pay tribute. The other thing we did was we dedicated some street to some of the veterans. And if you notice below street signs in some locations, you'll see big blue signs with a veteran's name on it. So just know that on those streets, there is a veteran who lives there that gave his dedicated service to you. So it's my privilege to be here. I thank and applaud everybody for everything you do. And Martin Luther King School, you guys rock.
Before we continue, I do want to introduce Mrs. Deborah Ains, a member of our Board of Education. Deborah, do you want to come up and say a few words? No? And former Mayor Resigliano. And later on in the program, we'll be introducing our heroes that are visiting us today. So I'm turning this over now to Mrs. Renda.
Our first reading today, Facts About Veterans Day, will be read by Dhruv Chaturvedi, Student Council President.
Facts about Veterans Day. Veterans Day is celebrated annually on November 11th, an anniversary of the end of World War I. Fact number 2. The holiday honors anyone who has served in the United States Armed Service. Fact number 3. Veterans Day coincides with many other countries' celebration of Armistice Day or Remembrance Day. These holidays also commemorate the end of World War I. Fact number 4. There are approximately 23.2 million veterans in the United States that the holiday honors. America's parade in New York City is the largest event in the nation celebrating Veterans Day. There are 19.6 million veterans in the United States. There are 1.6 million female veterans. There are 9.3 million U.S. veterans are over the age of 65. There are 39,890 veterans of World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War still living. Thank you.
Thank you, Dhruv. Next is a poem entitled Veterans Day, and it will be read by Rama Deshpande, Student Council Secretary.
Veterans Day by Cheryl Dyson. On Veterans Day, we honor all who answer to a service call. Soldiers young and soldiers old fought for freedom, brave and bold. Some have lived while others have died, and all of them deserve our pride. We're proud of all the soldiers who kept thinking of red, white, and blue. They fought for us and all our rights. They fought through many days and nights. And though we may not know each name, we thank all veterans just the same.
Thank you, Rama.
For the
Well, boys and girls, as a daughter of a veteran and as a mother of 2 veterans, with my older son serving in Somalia and Bosnia through the U.S. Marine Corps, and my younger son's giving service in Iraq, I had many sleepless nights during those times, but I do know what it means to thank a vet, because I thank them daily. And now I'm going to introduce our true heroes, Mr. Fred Homiller, U.S. Army, former phys ed teacher at Martin Luther King School. Mr. Johnny Lawrence, U.S. Air Force, and husband of Mrs. Brenda Lawrence, who's a substitute. We usually have Commander Frank Alec here, and he's not able to be here today, and we miss him, and we miss Mr. Gucek as well. But we have Mr. Harold Klauser, U.S. Navy Seabees. Mr. William Utterson, U.S. Army. Mr. Tim Bratyansky, and grandfather of one of our students, U.S. Navy. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And now I turn it over to Mrs. Renda.
I know that Veterans Day is a day to celebrate the soldiers who are still alive and served in the armed forces during peace and war. But this year, I'd like to take a few moments and mention some of the brave soldiers, living and deceased, from our very own MLK families. Arthur Edward Wilton, U.S. Army, father-in-law of Mrs. Wilton. Arthur Joseph Wilton, U.S. Marine Corps, son of Mrs. Wilton. Neil Wilton, U.S. Marine Corps, son of Mrs. Wilton. Joseph Fox, U.S. Army, father of Mrs. Wilton. Joseph Benson, U.S. Marine Corps, husband of Mrs. Benson. Guy Warnken, U.S. Army, father of Mrs. Battagliola. Alexander Hines, U.S. Army, father of Ms. Hines. John Colea, U.S. Navy, grandfather of Miss Colea. Justin Colea, U.S. Navy, cousin of Miss Colea. Harvey Boutwell, U.S. Navy, grandfather of Ms. Colea. Bernard Bellatier, U.S. Army Air Force, grandfather of Ms. Milton. Edward Sabo, U.S. Navy, father of Mrs. Cohen. Stephen Sabo, U.S. Navy, brother of Mrs. Cohen. Gary Carnival, U.S. Navy, brother-in-law of Mrs. Kelly Wojcik. Patrick Joseph O'Grady, U.S. Army, father of Mrs. O'Grady. Eric Vogel, U.S. Army, father of Ms. Vogel. Ryan Gray, U.S. Air Force, nephew of Ms. Vogel. Ronald Jackson, U.S. Navy, father of Ms. Cheryl Jackson. Gaetano Squillis, U.S. Marine Corps, father-in-law of Mrs. Squillis. Guy Squillis, husband of Mrs. Squillis. Ronald Ransom, U.S. Air Force, husband of Mrs. Ransom. Ryan Ransom, U.S. Air Force, active duty, son of Mrs. Ransom. My father-in-law, Joseph Renda, and my own dad, John Goslick, both U.S. Army. Thank you. Next, I'd like to offer the mic to Jeffrey Zhao, Student Council Vice President, with a poem, They Did Their Share.
They Did Their Share by Joanna Fuchs. On Veterans Day, we honor soldiers who will protect our nation. For their service as our warriors, they deserve our admiration. Some of them were drafted, some were volunteers. For some it was just yesterday, for some it had been many years. In the jungle or the desert, on land or on the sea. They did whatever was assigned to produce a victory. Some came back, some didn't. They defended us everywhere. Some saw combat, some rode a desk. All of them did their share. No matter what the duty, for low pay and little glory, those soldiers gave up normal lives for duties mundane and gory. Let every veteran be honored. Don't let politics get in the way. Without them, freedom would have died. What they did, we can't repay. We owe so much to them who kept us safe from terror. So when we see a uniform, let's say thank you to every wearer.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeffrey. Next is Rama, who will share a historical timeline of Veterans Day events.
A timeline of events in the history of Veterans Day. November 11th, 1918. The armistice ending World War I begins at 11 a.m. 1919. President Woodrow Wilson proclaims November 11th as Armistice Day. November 11th, 1921. The first unknown soldier is reburied at Arlington National Cemetery. The tomb has the words inscribed, "Here rests in honored glory an American soldier known but to God." May 13th, 1938. Armistice Day becomes a federal holiday. June 1st, 1954. President Eisenhower signs a bill changing Armistice Day to Veterans Day, and in order to include all veterans. May 30th, 1958. Unknown soldiers from World War II and the Korean War are reburied next to the unknown soldier from World War I. 1968. Congress changes the date of Veterans Day to the fourth Monday in October in order to give federal employees a 3-day weekend. This change begins in 1971. September 25th, 1975. President Gerald Ford changes the date of Veterans Day back to November 11th. The change begins in 1978. May 28th, 1984. An unknown soldier from the Vietnam War is reburied in Arlington National Cemetery. In 1998, he's identified through DNA tests as Michael Blassie, a 24-year-old pilot shot down in 1972 on the border of Cambodia.
Thank you, Rama. Drew will read another poem, The Best on Earth, a Veterans Day tribute.
The Best on Earth, a Veterans Day tribute by Joanna Fuchs. If someone has done military service, they earn the title veteran and more. They earn our deep respect and admiration. They are special and no one can ignore. The list is long of all the things that they gave. Our veterans are extraordinary people. Our veterans are the loyal, dedicated, true, and brave. When terror and invasion were real threats, they showed us that they could handle any storm. We owe our freedoms and our very lives to veterans who served in uniform. Our veterans should be celebrities. They're exceptional. No other group compares. We're grateful for the many things they've done. They're always in our hearts and our prayers. We owe our veterans support and friendship. Let no one ever question what they're worth. These men and women served us and our country. Our veterans, the very best on earth.
At this time, I'd like to offer the microphone to any of our veterans who would like to speak to the children. Mr. Lawrence?
Good morning. This is completely off guard. I didn't know I was going to get to speak this morning, but it's my pleasure to be here and to see all the lovely children here. It seems like this is my third or fourth year here. wanted to tell you. And it just, it touches me every time just to hear the poems and hear you sing. Also to see the film, because it brings back a lot of memories. So I just want to say thank you for having me. Myself, I spent a total of 30 years altogether in the military, between that and duty and reserves. And I enjoyed every minute of it, and I was proud to serve. Wish I could continue. Thank you.
Mr. Homerly?
I served in the Army Artillery at the border between North and South Korea, and had temporary duty in Japan. And each time I saw the American flag flying in a foreign country, it made me very proud, and it's the same way that I feel today. Thank you so much for being here and your support.
Mr. Klausner? Mr. Otterson? Mr. Britton? Mr. B? Thank you. Can I please have my blue lion back?
Okay, guys, let's give 3 roars one more time to the veterans. 1, 2, 3. Roar! Roar! Roar!
boys and girls. Our final poem, Honor Our Military, will be read by Jeffrey. Boys and girls, just a few more minutes. If you can keep your chatter down, we'd really appreciate it. Thank you.
Honor Our Military by Joanna Fuchs. Let's honor our military, the men and women who serve, whose dedication to our country does not falter, halt, or swerve. Let's respect them for their courage. They're ready to do what's right, to keep America safe, so we can sleep better at night. Let's support and defend our soldiers, whose hardships are brutal and cruel, whose discipline we can't imagine, who follow each other and rule. Here's to those who choose to be warriors, and there's helpers, good and true. They're fighting for American values. They're fighting for me and you.
Former Mayor Resigliano has been part of this every year, I think, since it's begun. Did you want to say a few words, former Mayor?
Thank you. I was not going to step over the wire as the mayor did, because I was not taking a chance. What a pleasure to be with all of you today. Thank you so much for the invitation. Martin Luther King holds a special place in my heart. As many of you know, 819 children came here. We were here when the doors opened in September of 1970 with 3 of my children. I love coming back to the school. What you have done to teach these children the importance of veterans and what they have given to us and continue to give to us on a daily basis. For all of this, I am so deeply indebted, as is everyone else in Edison Township. Thank you. God bless you.
I always tell the 5th grade class at the end of the year that Martin Luther King is a home you can come home to. So I hope the veterans consider our school their home. And a couple of people that we need to thank. Mrs. Renda and her family who came in, did all the decorations. And if it wasn't for Mrs. Renda facilitating and organizing everything, we wouldn't have this opportunity. So our Blue Lion, can you come up and lead us for roars for Mrs. Renda?
Okay, guys, let's give 3 roars to Mrs. Renda. 1, 2, 3. Roar! Roar! Roar!
So as you look around, we have lots of heroes. I consider your teachers your heroes. I consider your parents your heroes. But right now, today, most of all, I want to thank these heroes, the veterans of America. Thank you so much for joining us. Mrs. Renda will lead us in the final remarks, then we'll have a song, and we have some refreshments for you in our library, so we'll escort you there after the ceremony.
Well, I'll wait. Thank you all for being such a wonderful audience and for helping me with all of the singing. I couldn't have done it without all of you, and I hope you enjoyed this year's program and look forward to next year's. God bless the USA and our honored veterans. Thank you. Tricia? 3 roars before our final song.
Okay, guys, let's give 3 roars. 1, 2, 3. Roar! Roar! Roar!